this session. So, so as I said, the scientific writing requires specific attention. It's not like that you are not aware of the scientific writing. We have been writing, we have been publishing, we are doing quite a lot of things. But when we are trained in something, we get to know the intricacies in those area. And when you are trained in certain subject, then you gain certain additional information, additional skill, which will make you little better as compared to others. So standing out in that particular area becomes much easier. Now, before I take you through the details of the medical and scientific writing, let's recap something what we have learned in our last module about the communication and presentation as a part of communication. We talked about various components of communication, and when we grow as professional, we develop skills in four specific components, starting with listening skill, then we develop speaking skill, then we develop our reading skill. Reading could be a vocabulary reading, and reading could be the picture reading. Reading could be the uh, the ecosystem around us, that reading. So reading could be anything. It's not limited to vocabulary only. Then last part is coming our writing part. So this goes without saying, when we develop certain skills in writing, then we have to be proficient in our listening skill. We have to be proficient in our speaking skill. We have to be proficient in our reading skill. Then only there will be a high standard of writing skill. So when we culminate this listening, speaking, and reading skill, then there is a very strong writing skill evolves, and we have to keep those things in mind while we just try to learn various skills in our scientific writing capabilities. Now, with this understanding, let's go to the very basics of scientific writing. So scientific writing, I am bringing you one framework directly here, what we call the framework as the ACE framework. So whenever you try to write any scientific writing, any scientific documentation, all the time you keep it in mind a framework which is known as the ACE framework. Now, what is this ACE framework? A stands for your accuracy, then C stands for clarity of understanding, clarity of thought, and E stands for evidence. So if we are confident and comfortable in A, C, E, or accuracy, clarity, and evidence, then we bring this scientific writing to a certain level of excellence. It's not like other writing. So we have to bring these three things into practice. Now let's bring about the first component, which is accuracy. Now, once we talk about accuracy in scientific writing, then whatever we write, please remember those are very, very important points. And if we understand them right now, then we are better off. So if we are writing anything, if there is no facts and figures, please do not write those things. Any statement, even a simple sentence you are writing about your doctoral research or any research associated with your doctoral topic, doctoral PhD topic, then there must be a facts and figures connected to each and everything you write. Please make it in a habit. If, for example, we are doing uh, a PhD on malnutrition problems in India and associated solutions, then anything we write about malnutrition, malnourishment, or anything, that must be backed by facts and figures. Without facts and figures, do not write a single sentence. That's the first thing about accuracy. Then second component we must keep it in mind is there are no assumptions or subjective statements while we write anything. While we write anything, we make it very, very subjective in order to make our writing maintain a flow. Meaning, we always say India is facing huge problems of malnutrition. So this example shows this statement, a sentence doesn't have any facts or figures. We are making just a subjective announcement which doesn't have any value scientifically for those people who will be reading it or who will be consuming this writing of yours. So in that case, in spite of that, if we can say that currently the malnutrition rate, which is measured in stunting or wastage, are varying from 45 to 50%. So now this 45 to 50% becomes a facts and figures which measures the malnutrition problem in India. So imagine how difficult it would be writing 10 sentences, having each sentence having certain facts and figures, whatever we are just trying to communicate. Then it becomes very, very difficult. It is no more easy to write some scientific writing without facts and figures. Then third thing we must keep it in mind, use correct statistics and correct unit. This is the third component of accuracy. Now let's talk about you know age. For example, age is one of the variable. We often use them in our research because age is a mostly it's a predictor to many things. So now if you are doing a research on neonatal mortality or you are just doing research on geriatric problem, this age becomes a common variable or common factor in both of the research. But when you measure age, you will be measuring age in terms of years in case you are just doing research in geriatric problem. But when you do a neonatal research, then you cannot measure your age in terms of years. It has to be in days, it has to be in weeks, it has to be in months. So when we talk about any measurement, please remember what is the right measurement, right unit of measurement, and we have to write all these things in that measurement unit. It cannot be just like any unit of measurement where we want to measure our research findings. So this is the third one. And fourth point we have to remember under accuracy is that mention the source of each and every figure we are using in our write-up. Now we say in India the stunting rate is 51%. 51% children are stunted. If we are just mentioning this statement, from where we are getting this information? We cannot simply leave it blank in our scientific writing saying that 51% of children born in India are stunted. Correct? So we have to connect that. Who has said that? Which organization has made that research and got that outcome? It has to be their part of our writing. So what we call as the referencing. So I repeat, now not a single statement you should write without having any facts and figures about the problem, what we are just trying to tell. No assumption, no subjectivity in our writing. Then we have to use statistics correctly, and the unit of measurement has to be appropriate to the research we are doing. And fourth one is all the data, all the facts, all the figures we are using in our research has to be given certain kind of referencing. Without referencing, we cannot and should not write anything as a part of our communication to other scientific communities who will be writing or who will be consuming our write up or consuming our scientific work. Now, when we are talking about this, then we are maintaining accuracy in our scientific writing. Now, if I just give you one example, say we write, just said this example, many children were malnourished in India. So this is a very, very common statement which doesn't have any scientific validation into that. Nobody in the scientific community will be accepting this statement as it is. And therefore, sometimes we, when we send some of our scientific writing for publication, and most of the time it is getting rejection because we are not giving that uh, accuracy part too much of consideration. Now, instead of that, if we write 32% children under 5, under the age group of 5, were underweight, and it is coming from NFHS 5 as the source. The moment it is written, then it becomes scientifically validated and scientifically appropriate write-off for our scientific writing. So this is all about the accuracy part of scientific writing. Then we'll move to the next part. Next part is the clarity part. Now, clarity is very, very important, although accuracy is equally important, but clarity or accuracy without clarity, it doesn't take anywhere of our work, which will create a kind of meaning to one sec. Okay. So when we talk about clarity, the clarity should be there. First and foremost thing is that about your research topic and research areas, what you are just doing. That's very, very critical. And when we talk about our research, it should be very, very simple vocabulary, no complexity in that. We have seen in many of the doctoral research, people make the things so complex they themselves do not understand what they are just trying to write or what they are just trying to do. And because of that, while they start writing, they fail writing certain things because the clarity is missing in a big, big way. So even if you want to write very small things, just write very, very simple sentence with giving one facts and figures about that. If you say that, for example, I was talking to some of you during last week, and we discussed something about PCOD. Now, if you want to write the problem of PCOD in India or in Pune, just simply write this many or 22, 32, whatever is the number, percentage of uh, women in the age group of 18 to 29 are facing the problem of PCOD. So this becomes very, very simple. Now, most of them, they do not have access to better medication and medical supervision. So now when we say that many of them, then it becomes again uh, not accurate scientific writing. We have to mention that what percentage of them, they are not having a very structured medication for managing their PCOD. So one by one you keep writing, then automatically you will find your writing becomes very, very strong scientific flavor into that. So under clarity, I'm saying that please make the sentence as simple as possible. Do not try to make it complex. Then next point, what we need to keep it in mind, avoiding jargons unless it is very, very critical to keep that jargon in it. Yes, when we talk about scientific writing, there are technical words are important, but not jargons. Jargons are very, very complex words which may mislead or completely change the meaning of the sentence what you are trying to communicate. So avoid jargon, but definitely use the technical terminology. For example, PCOD, malnutrition. So these are the technical words. They are not jargons, but try to use them when the things are utmost required for the usage. Otherwise, do not use jargon. Then, third important point is clarity comes with logical sequence. If logical sequencing is not there in anything, then it will create complexity, but it will not bring clarity to your communication or to your scientific writing. So, what is a logical sequence? Logical sequence is that if we are just talking about to bring, let's say the same example I'm taking here, PCOD in Pune among women in the age group of 18 to 29. So in that, the logical sequence would be if you want to compare Pune's PCOD problem vis-a-vis India, vis-a-vis globe, then what we just try to do, we just talk about what is the PCOD prevalence rate among this 18 to 29 age group women in the globe. Then we talk about Asian countries. Then we talk about India. Then we talk about Maharashtra. Then we talk about Pune city. So if we follow this logical sequence, then we may make some meaning to the people because they can understand the intensification or the level of problem of PCOD in city of Pune as compared to Maharashtra, as compared to India, as compared to Asian countries, and as compared to world. Similarly, if we want to talk about PCOD among different age group, let's talk about less than 18. What is the issue? 18 to 29, 29 to then in the reproductive age, then post menopause, then what happens to that? So if that sequence is maintained, then it makes some meaning while we write certain things. Otherwise, just jumbling things from here to there may not create any kind of uh, meaning while we write certain things. So anything we write, just we'll be writing under certain context. We cannot write everything in one day. If today we are just writing, let's say about the role of stress on the hormonal imbalance, if that is the clarity, then you focus everything around that. And stress, then you talk about from where stress comes, then how it impacts that hormonal things. So you only talk about that. In one day, you write only that, part when you just picked up that those things. Do not try to write everything into one day so that it will create a lots of problem. Then finally, convey the message as you thought. Sometimes, why we write as researchers, you are having lots of ideas in your mind. You, since you are reading quite a lot, since you are listening quite a lot, as I said in the beginning, as a recap, listening, speaking, reading, and then writing. So you do quite a lot of things, and once you start writing, all these thoughts come together and you get little bit of confusion state. So keep your thoughts as clear as possible from step by step. Okay, I need to communicate. This is what happens. Let me communicate that by writing properly with accuracy in mind and clarity in mind. Then only you just move to the next thought. Since our thoughts are not structured, our thoughts are not clear, the moment we write something, it just comes just like that. So if you are thinking certain things, then you keep them into piece of paper, and as a kind of validation, you can pass it to a friend and ask the friend, what do you get out of this writing? Or you can just give to your family members, just ask them to read, because you are not giving them to read the whole page, you are just giving them to read a paragraph where you are just trying to convey your thought process, what you are thinking. If it is matching, that means your thought, what you are just trying to communicate to outside through your writing, is properly communicated. That's the whole idea. So clarity can be maintained by these four simple things. And if we want to give an example, instead of the intervention displayed a considerable outcome in target demographic. Now, this is a very, very cluttered statement. The intervention displayed a considerable outcome in the target demographic. Instead of that, if you can just write, the vaccination program increased coverage among children 1 to 5 years by 40%. So what has happened here? You have brought the intervention means what? Intervention was your vaccination, but you are writing intervention there, which is not clear to the people. In the place of intervention, if you are putting vaccination program, which is nothing but the intervention. And considerable outcome is not clear what is actually happening as a scientific outcome. So that is there. The considerable outcome is what? Is 40% improvement in the coverage. That is the considerable outcome. That's the reason you have got this 40% into here. Then this target demographic, what is target demographic? Is 1 to 5 years children. So instead of writing all the intervention, you write vaccination. Considerable outcome, you put 40% in coverage improvement. Then in target demographic, you write 1 to 5 years. This as simple as it is. By writing this, you are bringing lots of clarity to your scientific writing. So second component is the clarity. First component was the accuracy. And accuracy will only possible if you have clarity in your mind, if you have a clear idea what you are just writing. So do not ever miss out your clarity of thought what you are just writing. And third component we are just bringing is the evidence, which is the is the central nervous system of scientific writing. Without evidence, scientific writing is just like a story. It doesn't have any value altogether. Now, again, whatever we write in our scientific writing, or for that matter, whatever we speak out, then each statement must be backed by data. If you do not have data or do not have numbers, facts, and figures in any statement of your write up, then ideally that sentence should not be there in your scientific writing. So far, whatever you have written as a part of your research proposal, as a part of your synopsis, whatever you call that, take it out and just read that again. And if you find a sentence doesn't have a number in it, just underline that with a red pen, and you'll find what is the percentage of your scientific writing is invalid. That's very, very important point. Please keep it in mind. Whether you are writing a original research article, you are writing a review paper, you are writing a letter to editor, whatever you write, if that doesn't have a number in it, that's absolutely inappropriate. Please remember. And once you do that, then you can identify by yourself your writing have become very, very strong because each statement is giving some sort of insight to the people who are reading it. Then just not giving that evidence or data is enough. Giving that data from a genuine source is equally important. Now, if you say that in India, 51% children under age group of 5 are underweight. So now from where you are getting this statement? Now you say that, yes, I have read a newspaper today and it was mentioned that 51% children in India are underweight. That's why I'm just picking up that sentence from the newspaper and writing that in my scientific writing. In that case, the source from where you have picked up that statement or picked up that data, picked up that fact or figure is not very, very genuine. Newspaper in scientific writing is considered to be not a very genuine source of information. So far, if you have taken any information, any data, or any facts from newspaper, from a magazine, from a doctor who has just told you just like that in the, uh, in a very, very casual conversation, those things will not be allowed as a genuine source of information in the scientific writing. And genuine sources are what? Genuine sources could be organization of highest repute, like World Health Organization, USAID, United Nations, UNICEF. So these are the organizations which are of genuine source. So you can pick up anything which is mentioned in their website and you can quote them as the source. Next is the all the peer reviewed journals. All the journals will be talking quite a lot about journals, all the databases in this module. So you'll come to know what are the different database available in that sense, which can be quoted as genuine sources. So genuine sources are high standard, high level organizations and high level peer reviewed journals, scientific journals can be considered as your genuine sources. So therefore, reading of lots of peer reviewed journals are important in your own subject so that you know that what are the important information is being reflected there by other uh, researchers who are doing similar kind of research in your field. Then it will be easy for you to know what kind of information is being published in scientific journals. Then no place for opinions. In scientific writing, there is no place for opinions. I feel this may happen, that's why it is happening. So there is no place for these opinions. Please avoid putting your opinion as a part of scientific writing. Scientific writings are always in black and white, whether yes or no. If evidences are there, then and follows a logical sequence, then yes, it is accepted. Your argument and everything is valid. If you are simply putting an opinion, then there will be a huge, huge problem, and your argument will stand not to any kind of weightage whenever you just feel. And I'm saying this because when I listen quite a lot of presentations, 80 to 90% of the presentations, they put their opinion, they put their subjective thoughts into that. I feel this may be the case, so that should not have happened. Please mention again when you read anything which is written by your own, if you feel that is a kind of opinion you have simply put, just put a strike out in a red pen, then you can understand, current what is the level of your scientific writing. And next point, which is very, very important, is that evidences that you have quoted in your scientific writing must be accessible. accessible in the sense that if you are saying 51% of children in India are underweight, and you have put the reference or the source is NFHS National Family and Health Survey 5 2024-25. Okay, so you have given that. Now, where it is accessed from, where if I have to get that information as a reader of your article, from where I'll have to get that, whether it's a website, whether it's a handbook of NFHS 5, or is it a kind of article from where it is taken, or it is Ministry of Health and Family Welfare website who has quoted about NFHS 5, where that information would be accessible to readers. Simply quoting the source is not enough. We have to understand how we can have access to those information. So these are the 4 points under evidence we must keep it in mind while we just work or writing our any article or any of the scientific document for publication purpose, because we write basically for two purpose, either for our PhD thesis or doctoral thesis, or for publication. Apart from these two, we do not require any scientific writing to be part of our professional life. Now, as a part of your doctoral program, you need to publish at least three to four public articles in scientific journals. That could be review articles, that could be short communication, that could be your review literature. So anything. So you have to write for that purpose, or you have to write for the uh, purpose of completing your doctoral thesis. Now, if we just give one example of evidence-based writing, the program worked well. So this is a very, very generic statement, which is not fulfilling your evidence, clarity, or accuracy. So instead of that, if we write, the follow-up survey showed 25% decline in dengue incidence after the intervention. Okay. So now you are talking about there is a number, there is a fact, there is a data of 25% decline, and you are giving the complete source from where you have picked up this 25%. It's coming from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in 2022. So these kind of statements as a part of your scientific writing is accepted. Otherwise, simply writing this program worked very well in Pune and other places. So that doesn't have any meaning. So now, whatever you write, since the time has come for you to start writing and publishing, because your PhD program, doctoral program gives you the benefit of publication, and as a mandate you have to make 3 publications before you submit your final thesis for evaluation, for defense and rest of the things. And keep this accuracy, evidence, and clarity in a sense, I call it the ACE framework. So ACE framework must be followed when we write any scientific document. Any scientific document means, as I said, for two purposes. First purpose would be your PhD thesis, or second purpose could be publication. Now, once you write, how you work on this, once you write, for example, you are writing your introduction part. And introduction part, let's bring the clarity what exactly you try to put in the introduction part. Then once that clarity comes, you start writing with accuracy. Accuracy means you just put only those things which matters to the reader and which matters to define that introduction as the problem statement, as the gap or whatever. To do that, only put this accurate information which will make your statement as strong as possible. Then you write that with evidence. If the three things are not fulfilled, please strike out that statement. You write that, read again, you feel accuracy is there, just say yes or no. Clarity is there, say yes or no. Evidence is there, say yes or no. I am saying that to each and every statement we are writing, these three things has to be checked, and you must fulfill that if you want to write a very, very strong and impactful thesis, or impactful, or if you feel that your uh, review paper or your manuscript will be accepted. Believe me, if these kind of things will be taken into account, the chances of acceptance is 99.9%. Please keep that in mind. So this is all about ACE framework, and this has to be done to each one of your writing skill. Now, what you do is that you have already written a kind of uh, m- uh, proposal or synopsis for your PhD, which you have already submitted. Just do pick up that again, run this ACE framework into that, and just underline with red pen if a particular sentence doesn't